Smart locks have been great to add to the home, but they have one major issue. Let's say you're getting home and you want to enter your door, but the battery has just suddenly died and you're no longer able to put in your PIN code. You go to reach for your keys, but you don't have them either, so you have no way to get into the door. What am I gonna do now? And that has been a recurring problem on every smart lock I've tried. Some doors I barely use, and the next time I go to use it, the battery has already been depleted. Well, that is why today I'm really excited to introduce the new DESLOC V150 Plus. This is the first solar-powered smart lock with new solar-powered technology, which will be able to increase the battery life even if the sun doesn't directly hit it. A huge thank you to DESLOC for sponsoring this video. Let's get started. DESLOC sent over this huge box to introduce this new technology. So here on the left, we have the Perovskite solar panel, which delivers 659% better low light performance than the traditional solar panel that we have over here on the right. I'm really excited to test out firsthand what that technology is capable of doing. Now, inside the box here, they also included all of these different pins of awards they won this year at CES because of this crazy technology built in the V150 Plus. And here on the box, it shows all the features it has: the solar charging, the 3D face recognition, a curved fingerprint, easy to install, and this also has a built-in Wi-Fi, so it works with Google as well as Alexa. Wait, rewind that. Here you can see all the testing this has gone through to certify it is a durable lock, and it is also IP65 weather resistant. And here we have more details about how all of that tech is working and a final list of everything that is built inside of the DESLOC V150 Plus. Let's get this unboxed. So here we have the inside part of the lock that will go in our home that we can lock and unlock. And then here we have the DESLOC K150 Plus. Now this is a giant solar panel. There we have our fingerprint, and up here is where it has all the tech to do the face recognition. Now before we even install this, I'm going to do a few tests to see how it can charge without even being outside, which is crazy because this is able to use light at less than 300 lux, which is awesome. So I'm going to put in the battery here first. Now this can be charged up via USB-C if you would like to quickly charge it up that way. But once we snap that in place, and then we plug this in, we can get it set up in the DESLOC app. So in the DESLOC app, we just need to tap the plus up here and it will walk you through how to get it installed. So let's just pretend we've completed the installation. We're then going to scan, and then on the back of the panel is our code. And we just need to scan that to get it connected. And here it's going through the calibration to see which way your door is oriented. So now we're ready to set up our fingerprint. So we just need to place our finger on there 6 different times. Now we're going to connect it to Wi-Fi. And now it is connected. I then get the option to add everyone to the app. So if we go in here right now, we can see that our battery life is at 15%. So I haven't plugged it in, I haven't charged it up or anything. And if we jump right into the settings here, we do have a bunch of options that I'll get into, but here we have the battery. And if we go into the battery, we can actually see what its current status is on charging. So here, now that it's loaded up, it is charging. We're just inside the home. I have a few lights on right here, some LEDs above me, and the current illuminance on the solar panels is 316 lux, which the minimum you need is at least 300 lux to be able to charge the solar panels. So even though we don't have much light or even much powerful light, it is able to charge up the battery. So that means even if you have this on under an eave or somewhere where it's not getting great sunlight, it is still going to be charging. Now moving outside on the front porch here, you can see it's just sunny. There is no sunlight directly hitting the porch. And of course this is pushed out a little bit from the door, but looking in the app, it is showing 6,000 lux of illuminance that we're receiving here. So even if we're not having the sun hitting our porch all day, we're still going to get a lot of illuminance to the lock, so it's going to be able to charge. Now we're still at 15%, so I think I'm going to leave it here for a little while and then see how much it's able to charge. This new solar technology is Perovskite solar cells. Now this came out about 2 years ago, and it's great to see it's fully implemented into a product. So here this explains more about it, but PVK has the ability to get voltage even in a low or low light situation. So you're not gonna have this in the sun all the time. Now PVK can work in luminance under 30,000 lux or even indoors under 1,000 lux, which is great. This can be perfect for a smart lock where you're not going to be plugging this into any sort of cable label or anything, but having it just sit there constantly being charged is a great opportunity for this. I'm excited to see how well this can work. It has now been 24 hours since I started the solar powered sun test on the V150 Plus. Now, it was 2 o'clock when I set this up yesterday. There is no sun directly hitting this. The sun is going the other direction. So in just ambient light, the rest of the day, so that was about 8 hours, it charged up 2%, going from 15% to up to 17%, which was great. I thought that's pretty awesome. Even if the sun is not hitting your door, you're still getting a few percent. And remember, this is going to be every day. This isn't a very long-term test, but I think it gives us enough data to test that out. Now, once the sun came up, it wasn't directly hitting it, but because it had enough lux, it was charging it up, and it charged up to 19% in just a few hours. And then the sun hit it directly, and it was able to get up to 22% after a couple hours. Here's the exact stats on the screenshots, but now it's been sitting in the porch for a few more hours. So let's go ahead and jump in here and see what we're currently sitting at. So there we are at 22% with the 7,000 lux. So 22% from 15% just in one day, I think is great. Remember, every day that could charge this up to 7% more. So after a while, you're gonna be just at 100%. And I don't think I would be using this enough to even get it lower than more than 90% once we get up to that full charge. So this new type of solar technology is really great. Now let's go ahead and do just a test being in direct sunlight. How long is it going to take it to get it up maybe 5%? And here on the app, that you can't see, it is showing 128,000 lux. So tons of light being able to charge the solar panel. So this is going to be the quickest way to get the solar panel charged, but not necessarily the only way in which you can get the solar panel charging the battery on the DESLOC, which is really great that you don't need to have this ideal situation. This can work in many different areas within your home. So after 2 hours in direct sun, it was able to go up 2% more to 24%. So that's pretty good in just a few days, being able to go up 10%. Then I also tried it in lower light situations. So when the sun's going down here, you can see the porch, it's not very bright. And it did show that there was light, but at a certain point, it got under the 300 lux and it was no longer charging. And even with the porch light on, that did add luminance. So I guess if you had a really bright porch light, you would be able to get enough to possibly charge it at night. But as the sun goes completely down, it is no longer to charge outside. And taking it inside, it did the same, where there's just not enough light inside. So then the next day it's going to charge. Now let's go ahead and check out what this is going to be like after having this set outside for a few weeks. Here we're at 57%. Now talking with DESLOC, they say it will go up to about 1 to 3% a day, depending on how many lux you have. And here you can see my performance. Now again, we started this at 15% and it has got all the way up to 57% in the last 3 weeks. So here some days are at 4,500 illuminance, and then we've got up to about 21,000, and then we're getting daily about 245 milliamp hours to be able to charge it up. So I think that's great performance. We haven't used the lock a ton. We're not using it that often, just a couple locks here and there a day. But even without direct sunlight, it's getting plenty of charge with that new solar panel technology. This is really great how much it's increased over time. And once it gets up to that 100%, I can see it not really going too much lower because we don't have that much usage. So this is just going to work forever without ever needing to charge or replace batteries. Now that we have this all set up, let's go ahead and add facial recognition. So under my assigned access, I go into my account. Here I have the fingerprint, and then here I have the face. So all I need to do is start setting up the face. It says position about 30 to 75 centimeters from the door. And here it's saying that this data is not sent to the cloud. It's all on the device, and it's only used for unlocking. All right, let's go ahead. Stand right here. Dude, just like that, didn't have to do anything else. That's wild. Okay, so let's go ahead, lock the door. Now, typically these have a pin code on them, but out of the box the V150 doesn't. DESLOC will be adding an accessory where you can add a pin code that will work over Bluetooth so that you still have access to use a pin code with the V150 Plus. Next, I'm going to add a fingerprint. I just need to tap start here, and then to register it, I just need to press my finger on it 6 different times and then it registers. So the door is currently locked. If I come up with my fingerprint, there it unlocks it. And I'm just going to lock it in the app. Let's go ahead and try the facial recognition. I did have to touch the DESLOC button there, and it unlocked with my face. That's crazy. You do still have the hidden keyhole inside the button here, which is now the fingerprint button, and there is even an emergency port to be able to power it to unlock it if you need to. So is how this works is you come up, if the door is locked, there you go. You then have the option to put in your fingerprint. So press it on. If it doesn't work, hold it down just a little bit longer, and there it now unlocks. Then if you want to lock the door, you can hold down the DESLOC button and that will lock the door. So there, the door is locked. And then for the facial recognition, you would need to wake up the device. So if I touch on it, that's going to wake it up. Or if you walk up to it, it has a proximity sensor to be able to know if you are in front of the door, and then it will unlock. Let's try that out. So here with proximity induction turned on, as soon as I walk up to the door, it recognizes me and then it is able to unlock the lock with my face, which is crazy. Now, if you turn off that proximity induction, all you have to do is go up and push the DESLOC button. It will then turn on the facial recognition and unlock the door. Now, does this still work at night? Yes, it does. Here it is able to unlock, and it had no problems doing that. And how this is working is this is using infrared light to be able to see my face. So here is what that looks like through an infrared camera, is a quick flash of light using the sensor to recognize my face and then unlocking the door. Now that proximity induction is great because you don't have to do anything and it will just unlock with your face. Now there are a few different options here. You can change the different energy level it's using. Now this will only work when you have the induction lock turned on, so it's automatically going to lock when you shut the door. So sometimes I don't want that, so then I'm just using the button to wake it up to unlock it. But there were those three different options when you have it turned on of length in which it's going to recognize you. Testing these out, they all seem pretty good. It's just going to take a little bit longer and it will save on battery life a little bit, but through my testing, it's not enough that it's going to drain the battery too much if you do have it on that higher setting. So we pretty much covered everything in how you can use the DESLOC V150 plus a few other things that you can do. Now, of course, you can manually lock and unlock it from the inside. Then you also have the option to use the keyhole. So you just pull this out, you can use the key to then be able to lock and unlock it. And then you also have the option to use it from the app where you can lock and unlock it. Now, compared to other locks, you don't have the option to easily add this to a person and have them enter some PIN code. So this isn't as convenient as an Airbnb as some of the other locks where you can easily add the code in the app. But I think this is, again, so great that you have the solar panel built in there that you don't have to worry about ever charging this again. But I really think this is a huge step in being able to have a device that you never have to recharge the battery, which is huge. So let's go ahead and check out some of the other settings we have in here. We have things like vacation mode, where it's automatically going to trigger an event as an alarm in case nobody's here. We have rest mode, so that's going to kind of tone down everything the lock is doing to save battery and so on. We have special care users, so you can set this up with certain people that are coming to your home so that they can get in and use your door. You have the auto lock feature. So I talked about the induction lock where it's automatically going to lock as soon as it is closed, but then you also have the time lock. So this is just after a certain amount of time. Once the door is shut, then it will lock. So you can set that from 5 seconds to 120 seconds. This is great. You come home and there the lock automatically locks and you don't have to worry about if you locked it or not. That's great to be able to have. With people going in and out the door all the time, I find that I don't want to have that. And then you do have the option to connect this with all the different smart homes. So you could set auto lock times at different times during the day. Here we have the anti-hijacking. So here you can set up a fingerprint where once you trigger that, it's then going to notify somebody that you're in trouble. You can adjust the face recognition here, so you can go through the guide there. Here you have failed attempts, so it will lock out after somebody's tried too many times, maybe wrong fingerprint. And here you can have it alert you when the door has been left open for too long. And then here you have some other settings for the device itself. So you can adjust volume, you can change the language. Next we have proximity induction. So this allows it to automatically wake up if you walk up to the door. Now I just covered this, so you do have to have the induction auto lock turned on for this to work. But if you don't want to have that, all you have to do is touch the DESLOC button. That will wake it up so that you can use the face unlock. Here we can see those battery statistics. Here you can diagnose if there's issues and adjust the notifications and so on. Then here in the app, you can go in and assign different users access. So giving them a fingerprint that they can use, multiple fingerprints, or recognizing their face. And then here you can see all the events that have happened, who has unlocked it, when it was locked. You can sort it by unlocked and even alerts. So tons of features that you have. And then if you want to use this with Google Assistant or Amazon Alexa, you just need to link DESLOC in those different smart apps. After spending a bit of time with the DESLOC V150 Plus, I think this is really cool how they've incorporated these new technologies into this lock that have been needed for a long time, being able to save you time and batteries. You're not gonna have to replace those batteries every 6 months or so, and it's just going to be able to charge all on its own, which is amazing. Being able to use the facial recognition on it as well is the first time I've ever used a lock with that, and it's actually very seamless. You walk up to it, once it recognizes you, it instantly unlocks. I've only had a few times where the radar sensor didn't see me come up to the door. You just kind of have to tap it and then it's able to unlock easy, or I can just put on my fingerprint. So even just those two technologies, which is vastly different from other smart locks I've used before. Sometimes it's had all the other PIN codes and all that stuff. So you do miss out on some of that, but I think long-term, this is going to be a lock that you would have in any location, and it would be able to easily be used no matter what. You're going to have the battery there because it is being able to pull the energy down and charge the lock, which is so awesome. So if you're interested in checking out the latest smart lock with the newest technology, make sure you check out the DESLOC K150 Plus. I'll leave a link for you down in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. See you on the next one.